Have you ever found yourself juggling different systems? Maybe, trying to blend those old reliable tools with some flashy new tech, and then just wondering how on earth you keep it all secure, keep it all running smoothly. It's a common thing, right? Especially now everything's so connected. Well, today we're going to dive deep into exactly that. Hybrid harmony, mastering cloud entitlements in a blended world. Now, this deep dive, it's built on some really great insights from a document by Bert Blevins, which is also called Hybrid Harmony, Mastering Cloud Entitlements in a Blended World. Our mission, basically, is to cut through the noise, the jargon, and give you a really clear picture of what this blended world, this hybrid cloud thing actually means. Why are companies doing it? What are the tricky bits they run into? And crucially, how does this concept called CIM sort of act as a bridge to manage it all? By the end, you should have a pretty solid, quick grasp on this whole area.
It's
Yeah.
complex, yeah, but really vital. Okay, let's get started. So, to kick things off, when we talk about a blended world in tech, what are we actually picturing here? What does that really mean?
Well, yeah, a blended world, it's essentially a hybrid environment. And it's quite a smart strategy, actually. Think of it like a Venn diagram.
Yeah.
You're combining your on-premises resources, the servers, the systems you physically have in your own data center
Right.
with cloud resources, stuff that's off-prem, provided by, say, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, folks like that. But the real goal here, it isn't just using both. It's about using them for optimal computing. So strategically using each environment for what it actually does best is different from just being all on-prem or all cloud.
Okay, that Venn diagram visual helps a lot. So it's not just like randomly having some stuff here and some stuff there. It's about being smart, deciding where each piece of your digital setup should live to get the absolute best out of it. Efficiency, performance, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Can you maybe give an example? How does that optimal computing look in the real world?
Oh, absolutely. Think about really sensitive data, customer info, maybe intellectual property. A lot of companies feel it's optimal to keep that stuff securely on premises, where they have total control, over compliance, physical security. But then maybe you have workloads that need to flex a lot, like processing tons of online orders during a big sale, or running complex AI models that need huge amounts of power, but only temporarily. For that kind of thing, the cloud becomes the optimal choice. You scale up exactly when you need it, then scale right back down. Only pay for what you used. That's optimization.
Ah, okay. That makes perfect sense. It really does sound like you're trying to get the best from both sides. But, if it's so complicated weaving these two worlds together, why are so many companies actually moving this way? What are the big draws, the advantages pushing them?
Yeah, that's a key point. They're moving this way because the benefits are just, well, they're incredibly compelling. They tackle modern business needs head on. The source material highlights things like flexibility, scalability, cost efficiency, also enhanced security, business continuity, agility, and innovation. Lots of good stuff. For example, that enhanced security bit. It's not just about having more tools. It lets companies build defenses in layers, keep the really sensitive crown jewels on-prem under tight control, but use the cloud providers' big security teams and global threat intel for maybe less critical apps. It makes for a pretty strong defense overall.
That's a powerful list. Yeah, especially that security point about layering. That's smart. And just flexibility and scalability alone, those are absolute game changers, aren't they? Like your online store example. Peak season. You need massive power. Rest of the year, not so much. Hybrid lets you burst into the cloud for those peaks without buying loads of hardware you barely use otherwise. That's a huge win for agility, for cost efficiency. Businesses can react faster, be more resilient. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Which of these benefits really hits home for you listening right now in your own work? But okay, like with anything that sounds that good, there have to be downsides, right? Complexity usually brings challenges. It can't all be easy. So what are the big hurdles companies face when they go hybrid? And wait, you mentioned enhanced security as a plus, but the source also lists security risks as a challenge. How does that work? Seems a bit contradictory.
Yeah, that's a really important question, and it does confuse people sometimes. The basic challenge with a hybrid cloud is just coordinating all these different pieces, each with its own rules, its own potential weaknesses, its own management tools. The source flags things like complex management, data integration headaches, tricky cost management, compliance worries, governance issues. Now, about that security paradox you mentioned, enhanced security as a benefit. That comes from strategically choosing where things live, like we discussed, using the strengths of each place. But security risks as a challenge. That comes from the difficulty in managing access and policies consistently across both those different systems. It's like, imagine you have two really secure houses. Great. But making sure the right person has the right key for the right door in both houses and taking those keys back when they leave. That's hard. That complexity itself creates new potential holes. How do you keep control? How do you maintain security across this spread out landscape, especially when people and systems need access across both worlds?
Wow, okay. That sounds incredibly tricky. Like trying to conduct an orchestra, but half the players are in one building, half in another, different instruments, different sheet music, but they all need to sound like one unified piece.
Yeah, it really underlines the need for some kind of central command center, doesn't it? Something to manage all those different keys and rules you mentioned. And I think that's where this thing called CIM comes in.
Exactly.
Tell us about CIM. What's it stand for? And maybe first, what do we actually mean by entitlements here?
Right. So CIM stands for Cloud Infrastructure Entitlement Management. And entitlements, well, they're basically the specific permissions, the access rights given to users, or even systems for your digital stuff. Think of them as the digital keys, the rule books for your data, your apps, your infrastructure, wherever it happens to be. So CIM, it acts as that vital bridge in this complex hybrid setup. What's really transformative about CIM is how it gives you centralized visibility. It's worth saying that again. Centralized visibility across both your on-prem stuff and your cloud resources. Finally, you can actually see who has access to what, where they have it, when they use it, no matter where it sits. Beyond just seeing things, it helps ensure consistent policies get applied everywhere. Same rules for a server in your basement as for a VM in the public cloud. It streamlines operations, automating access control, stuff like that. And crucially, it reduces risk a lot. It finds and helps fix excessive permissions or unused ones. That classic permission sprawl problem, where old accounts or forgotten systems still have keys they don't need. Big security holes. CIM helps shut those down proactively through automation.
Got it. So it's like a universal translator plus air traffic control for all your digital access, bringing order to potential chaos. Instead of, say, needing one security team for on-prem with their tools and another for the cloud with their tools. CIM puts it all under one view, one set of controls, makes those daunting jobs, management, security, compliance, much, much more manageable. That really hits those challenges we talked about head on. Bringing that harmony to the complexity. Yeah. Okay, so for organizations listening, wanting to achieve this hybrid harmony, what are the practical steps? How do you actually transition successfully and use CIM properly?
Well, the source lays out 5 key steps. And it emphasizes they're not just a one-off checklist. It's more like a continuous cycle. To keep that harmony going, it starts with assessment. That's foundational. You have to deeply understand what you've got now, your infrastructures, your current permissions, your actual needs, what's working, what isn't, where are the big risks. Then comes planning. This is where you strategize. How will you migrate? How will you integrate things? Design your hybrid setup. Figure out how CIM fits into that picture. After planning, naturally, comes implementation. You execute the plan. Set up the hybrid environment, deploy your CIM solution. But you're not done there. Monitoring is absolutely critical, non-negotiable. You have to continuously watch performance, watch security across everything. The threats are always changing, right? And finally, optimization. Always looking for ways to refine things, improve efficiency, tighten up security, maybe even cut costs, make it better. These steps really do form a continuous loop, not just a project with an end date. It's an ongoing journey.
That makes total sense. It's a commitment, isn't it? An ongoing effort to maintain that hybrid harmony. Okay, so let's quickly recap this deep dive. Mastering cloud entitlements in this blended world, it's really about using hybrid cloud strategically, right? For innovation, for agility, for getting the best place for each workload, while crucially using tools like CIM to tame the complexity, manage the risks, keep things secure and compliant. Understanding this stuff, it really feels crucial for anyone working in IT today. So as we wrap up, here's a thought maybe to leave you with. Our digital worlds, they're just getting more blended, more dynamic. New tech keeps popping up. Considering how fast cloud tech evolves and how much we want everything to just work together seamlessly, what might be the next bridge we'll need to build? As our digital footprint expands even further, gets even more interconnected, what new challenges or maybe opportunities will come from even tighter integrations down the road? Something to think about. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.